There's a cave system in this park that's off-limits. They say it's because of bad air, but the real rule is don't listen to the echoes. Welcome to the Wilderness Protocol. Science provides us with the language to describe the world. We have names for the rock, for the gas, for the pressure that builds in the deep places of the earth. We write reports, we create charts, we believe that what we can measure we can understand. This is a comforting belief. It is also a dangerous one, because there are places where the laws of physics are merely suggestions, and where sound does not behave as it should. Places where silence is a mercy, and an echo is a predator. My name is Dr. Eris Thorne. I am a geologist. For a decade, I was assigned to this park to study its unique seismic and atmospheric conditions. My job was to listen to the mountain. I never imagined it might be listening back. The official records will tell you that the cave system known as Caldera's Maw is permanently sealed due to unstable rock formations and dangerously high concentrations of carbon dioxide and radon gas. This is true, but it is not the truth. The truth is we sealed it because of the echoes. This is the report I was never allowed to file. I've always loved the deep, quiet places of the world. As a geologist, I found comfort in the language of stone. A fault line tells a story of immense violence. A sedimentary layer tells a story of patient, quiet time. It's a language without lies. When I was assigned to this park, I saw it as the pinnacle of my career. A chance to study a geologically active, living landscape. My primary focus was the extensive cave system on the north face of the main peak. A sprawling network of limestone and volcanic tubes that the old-timers had christened Caldera's Maw. It was a geologist's dream, but I was never allowed inside. The man who gave me my orientation was the outgoing head of park safety, a man named Samuel Jones. Sam was a walking piece of granite, tough and unyielding, with eyes that had seen 70 winters in these mountains. He took me to the ridge overlooking the entrance to the maw. It was a jagged, dark opening in the side of the mountain, looking for all the world like a wound in the earth. A heavy iron-grated gate, thick with rust and warning signs, blocked the entrance. The primary sign read, "Danger. Unstable atmosphere. High CO2 and radon concentrations. Entry strictly forbidden." "That's the official story," Sam said, his voice a low gravelly rumble. "And for 99% of this job, that's all you need to know. The air in there is bad. It'll kill you in an hour without a rebreather. But the air isn't why the gate has 3 separate locks, and why the key is kept in a safe at the federal office 2 states away." "So what is the real reason?" I asked, my scientific curiosity piqued. Sam didn't look at me. He kept his eyes fixed on that dark opening. "There are places in this world, Doctor, where things have gone thin. The barrier between what is and what isn't is worn down like an old boot sole. The maw is one of those places. It's a throat. It breathes. And it listens." He finally turned to me, and the casual demeanor was gone. His eyes were deadly serious. "There's only one rule you need to know about that cave, and you will teach it to any ranger or researcher who gets too curious. The real rule of Caldera's Maw is this: don't listen to the echoes." I must have had a confused look on my face. "Echoes? It's a cave system, Sam. Of course there are echoes." "No," he said, shaking his head slowly. "You don't understand. I'm not talking about acoustics. The sound that goes in is not the sound that comes out. The cave, it changes them, plays with them. It learns from them. You shout your name, and it might come back as a whisper of a promise. You drop a tool, and the clatter might come back as the sound of a woman crying. It takes your sounds and turns them against you. Gets inside your head. It finds what you love, what you fear, and it sings it back to you until you don't know which voice is yours anymore." "You're telling me this cave is haunted?" I asked, a skeptical smile playing on my lips. "I'm telling you this cave is a liar," he corrected, his voice sharp as broken glass. "It's a predator that hunts with sound. The bad air is a mercy. Kills the body quick. The echoes, they take their time. They unmake the soul. So you stay out. You tell everyone to stay out. That gate stays locked. That is the protocol. I was a man of science. I respected Sam's experience, but I filed his warning away with the local folklore and bear stories. To me, the cave was a treasure trove of geological data, locked away by bureaucracy and local superstition. For 5 years, I did my job. I studied seismic readings. I monitored gas vents. I wrote my papers. And I stayed away from the maw. I was a good scientist. I followed the rules, even the ones I didn't believe in. Then came the incident with the 4 college students. They were from a university back east, part of a caving club. They were young, reckless, and brilliant. Their leader was a geology major named Maya, a bright, ambitious young woman I had corresponded with via email about her senior thesis. I had even warned her specifically to stay away from the unmapped systems in this park. She had assured me they were just there for the approved public-facing caves. She lied. They must have seen the gate on the maw as a challenge, not a warning. They cut the locks. They had their own rebreathers, their own high-end gear. They were professionals in their own minds. They went in on a Tuesday. By Thursday, when they hadn't checked in with their university contact, the alarm was raised. Their van was found parked on an old logging road a mile from the entrance. The gate to the maw was hanging open, the thick chains cut with bolt cutters. They were inside. A rescue operation was scrambled. It was a nightmare of logistics. We had to get clearance from the federal office for the key to the inner gate. We had to assemble a team with specialized closed-circuit rebreather training. Because of my geological knowledge of the area, and because I was the only one on staff with the required cave rescue certifications, I was assigned to lead the technical team. Sam, long retired, was called back as an advisor. He looked at me at the staging area, his face a mask of grim resignation. "You're going in," he stated. It wasn't a question. "I have to, Sam. They're kids. One of them is a geologist, I know." He just shook his head slowly. "Remember the rule, Eris. Remember what I told you. Whatever you hear in there, it's not real. It's just the cave singing to itself." He handed me a small object. It was a simple old-fashioned brass whistle. "If it gets too loud in your head," he said, "make a noise it can't copy. Pure tone. Something with no meaning, no memory attached. Sometimes it confuses it. Buys you a second." Our team was small. Myself for geological navigation. A woman named Jenna, the SAR team lead. A pragmatic and fearless climber with nerves of steel. And a young ranger named Ben, strong as an ox and chosen for his ability to haul gear. We were all equipped with full rebreather masks and communication systems. The plan was simple. Get in, follow their trail, retrieve them, and get out before our air scrubbers gave out. As we stood before the dark, open maw of the cave, I could feel a low-frequency hum vibrating through the soles of my boots. The air flowing out of the entrance was cold and carried a faint metallic tang. The bad air was real. "Comms check." Jenna's voice crackled in my ear, slightly distorted by the radio. "Ben, you read." "Read, you lead." Ben's voice came back, full of youthful confidence. "Eris." "Reading you, Jenna. Let's go." We stepped through the gate and the world changed. The sunlight vanished, swallowed by a profound and immediate darkness. Our headlamps cut sharp, white cones into the black, illuminating a massive cathedral-like entrance chamber. The walls were slick with moisture, and strange, pale fungi clung to the rock in bizarre, branching patterns. The air was thick and heavy, and even through the rebreather, I felt a strange pressure in my sinuses. We found their entry point easily. A bright orange climbing rope was anchored to a stalagmite, disappearing down a steep, narrow passage. "They went deep," Jenna said, her voice a calm, professional presence in my ear. "No hesitation. Amateurs." She rigged our ropes and we began our descent. The passage was tight, our pack scraping against the limestone walls. The only sounds were our own breathing amplified in our masks, the scrape of our gear, and the drip, drip, drip of water from somewhere in the deep. We rappelled for what felt like 200 feet before the passage opened into a larger tunnel. It was a massive volcanic tube, perfectly circular, stretching into the darkness beyond our headlamps. Their footprints were clear in the fine gray dust on the floor. "Okay, we're on their trail," Jenna said. "Ben, you take point. Eris, you're on navigation. Let's move." We walked for nearly an hour deeper and deeper into the belly of the mountain. The silence was absolute. There were no bats, no insects, no life at all. It was a sterile, dead place. It was here that I experienced the first anomaly. Ben, up ahead, stumbled, and one of his spare carabiners came unclipped from his pack, clattering onto the rock floor. The sound was sharp, metallic. Clang-ka-tang. And then came the echo. It shouldn't have been much. A faint, fading repetition. But what came back from the darkness ahead was different. It was embellished. It sounded like clang-ka-tang shatter. A sound like breaking glass had been added to the end of it. We all stopped. What was that? Ben's voice was tight with confusion. "Acoustic anomaly," Jenna said, ever the professional. "Strange rock formations can do weird things to sound waves. Ignore it. Keep moving." But I felt a cold knot tighten in my stomach. The sound that goes in is not the sound that comes out. Sam's words echoed in my mind. We continued, but the atmosphere had changed. The silence was no longer empty. It was waiting. A few minutes later, I decided to test it. My scientific mind needed data. I coughed a single sharp bark into my mask. Cough. The echo came back a moment later. But it wasn't my cough. It was a dry, rattling sound, like the last breath from a dying man. "Cougha!" Ben jumped. "Okay, that was not an acoustic anomaly. What the hell was that?" "The cave is playing tricks on the comms," Jenna insisted, though for the first time, I heard a flicker of uncertainty in her voice. "The damp air, the minerals in the rock, it's causing interference." I knew she was wrong. This wasn't interference. This was a response. We found their next rope, leading down another vertical shaft. This one was wider, opening into a vast chamber. As we descended, our headlamps revealed a breathtaking sight. The chamber was a forest of calcite crystals, some as tall as a man, glowing with a faint internal phosphorescence. It was beautiful, and it felt deeply, horribly wrong. At the bottom of the shaft, we found the first of their abandoned gear. A single backpack, neatly placed against a crystal formation. Inside was a half-eaten energy bar and a journal. It belonged to a student named Mark. I opened it. The first few pages were excited, detailed notes about the geology of the cave. But the last entry was different. The handwriting was a frantic, barely legible scrawl. "The echoes are singing now. Maya says it's beautiful. She says it's the sound of the Earth's core. I don't think so. I hear my mother. She's calling my name. She died last year. How does it know? I told them we should turn back. They won't listen. They just keep smiling." Maya took her rebreather off. She said the air is sweet here. I showed the journal to Jenna. She read it, her face grim behind her mask. "Bad air can cause hallucinations, Eris. Hypoxia. Does hypoxia teach a cave to imitate a dead mother, Jenna?" I shot back. She didn't have an answer. It was then that Ben started acting strangely. He had been quiet, withdrawn, since we entered the crystal forest. Now he was standing still, his head cocked as if listening to something we couldn't hear. "Ben," Jenna said. "What is it? What do you hear?" Nothing, lead," he stammered, but his eyes were wide with a strange mix of fear and wonder. I thought I heard music. Like an orchestra." The echoes were getting personal. They had found a way into his head. We pressed on, deeper into the crystal forest. The air grew warmer. The humming from the mountain was stronger here, a constant low thrum that you felt more than you heard. The crystals around us seemed to pulse faintly in time with it. Then we heard it. A voice. Crystal clear over our comms, cutting through the static. It was Maya, the student leader. "Is someone there?" her voice asked, sounding weak but hopeful. "Hello? We're lost. We need help." "Maya, this is SAR team lead Jenna." Jenna responded instantly, her professionalism taking over. "We are here to help you. Can you tell us your location? Can you give us a visual?" There was a pause. Then Maya's voice came back, but it had changed. The hopeful tone was gone, replaced by a strange flat effect. "You're so loud," she said. "You're ruining the song. You have to be quiet to hear it." "What song, Maya?" Jenna asked, her voice cautious. "The Song of the Stone," Maya replied, her voice now a dreamy, distant whisper. "The song that was here before the silence. You just have to listen." Suddenly Ben let out a cry. "I hear it. It's beautiful." He tore at the seals on his rebreather mask. "Ben, no." I lunged for him, but I was too late. He ripped the mask off his face. He took a single deep breath of the cavern air. A blissful, ecstatic smile spreading across his face. "It's not bad air," he gasped, his eyes rolling back in his head. "It's music." He collapsed to the floor, his body convulsing once, then going still. His rebreather lay beside him, hissing uselessly. Jenna and I stood frozen in horror. Ben was gone. Not killed by the gas, not really. He was killed by a sound. He was killed by the promise of a song. "We have to go," Jenna said, her voice shaking for the first time. "The mission is a failure. We've lost a man." "We can't leave them," I said, my voice low and fierce. "We can't leave her." I was thinking of Maya, the bright young geologist now lost to this thing. "There's nothing to leave, Eris. They're gone. They're part of whatever this place is now." As she spoke, a new sound echoed through the chamber. It was Ben's voice. "It's beautiful," it whispered, seeming to come from all the crystals at once. "Beautiful, beautiful." The cave had his voice now. It had added him to its collection. That's when I remembered the whistle. Sam's last-ditch advice. Make a noise it can't copy. Before Jenna could stop me, I pulled the brass whistle from my pocket. It felt cold and solid, a piece of the rational world in this place of madness. I put it to the transmitter on my mask and blew. A single piercing, pure tone cut through the cavern. It was a sound with no emotion, no memory, no meaning. Just a frequency. The effect was instantaneous and violent. The whispering of Ben's voice stopped. The crystals around us vibrated violently, a high-pitched shriek of feedback filling our comms. A web of cracks spread across the largest crystal formation in front of us. The cave hated it. It was like pouring salt on a slug. The shrieking stopped, and a new voice entered my head. This one wasn't an echo. It was direct. It was ancient. And it was furious. "Trespasser," it boomed. A voice made of grinding stone and immense pressure. "You disturb the harmony. You bring your ugly, meaningless noise into our sanctuary. What are you?" I whispered, my question transmitted through my mic. The echo came back instantly, but it was a perfect mimicry, a taunt. "What are you?" it mocked in my own voice. "We are the memory of the stone," the great voice continued. "We are the silence that remains. We offered your kind a gift, a release from the prison of thought, from the tyranny of self. We offered them a place in the choir." I looked at Jenna. Her eyes were wide behind her mask. She could hear it too. "We found them," I said into my mic, my voice steady despite the terror. "Just past the crystal forest. For subjects. They're unresponsive. They're listening." I could see them now, at the far end of the chamber, illuminated by the fractured light of the crystals. The 3 other students and Maya. They were sitting in a circle, facing a massive, pulsating geode at the center of the cavern. They were all humming, a low, dissonant, multitonal drone. Their rebreathers were discarded beside them. Their faces were peaceful, ecstatic. They were gone. They are not gone, the voice corrected me. They are complete. They have shed their discordant selves and joined the one true sound. You can join them. Your grief is loud, Geologist. The memory of your wife. It is a sharp, painful note. We can take it. We can smooth it. We can make it part of the song. I knew about Sarah. The cave had sifted through my mind, through the echoes of my own thoughts, and found my deepest wound. It was offering to heal it, to absorb it. For a terrifying, tempting second I considered it. A world without that pain. A world of pure, peaceful sound. Jenna grabbed my arm. Her grip was like iron. Don't listen to it, Eris, she said, her voice a fierce whisper in my ear. It's a liar. It's a parasite. I shook my head, clearing the fog of temptation. She was right. We had to get out. But the way back was blocked by the humming students and the malevolent intelligence in the crystals. I looked at the whistle in my hand, then at the cracked crystal formation. A desperate, suicidal plan formed in my mind. Jenna, I said, when I tell you to run, don't look back. Don't wait for me. Just run. What are you going to do? Make a noise it can't ignore. I took a deep breath. You want a song? I thought, directing my entire will, my entire being at the presence in the cave. I'll give you a song. I put the whistle to my mic, and I put every ounce of air in my lungs into it. I blew a long, sustained, piercing shriek. And as I did, I took out my Geologist's rock hammer from my belt. Run! I screamed at Jenna. She ran. I charged forward straight towards the humming students, towards the great cracked crystal. The sound of the whistle was deafening, a blade of pure frequency. The students recoiled, their hands flying to their ears, their peaceful expressions shattering into masks of pain. The great voice in the cave roared in fury. I reached the massive, damaged crystal and swung my hammer with all my strength. The hammer hit. The crystal did not just break. It exploded. It detonated in a shower of razor-sharp fragments and a blast of psychic energy that threw me backward. My head slammed against the rock floor, and my world went black. I woke to Jenna dragging me. The crystal cavern was dark, the phosphorescence gone. The humming had stopped. The air was blessedly, wonderfully silent. My maskets cracked, I gasped, feeling air leak near my cheek. I know. We have to move. Now, she said, hauling me to my feet. We half ran, half stumbled back the way we came. We didn't look at the students. They were slumped on the floor. Their faces no longer peaceful, just empty. Whatever had animated them was gone. We didn't look at Ben's body. We just moved. Up the ropes, through the tight passages, through the long dark tube. Every scrape of my boot, every ragged breath echoed normally, beautifully. The cave was just a cave again. It was silent. It was dead. When we finally saw the pinprick of daylight at the entrance, I could have wept. We stumbled out into the setting sun, ripping off our damaged masks, gulping in the fresh, cold mountain air. Our report was simple and clean. We found the students. They had succumbed to the toxic atmosphere, likely due to equipment malfunction. Ranger Ben had died heroically trying to save them. The mission was a failure. A tragedy. We were the only survivors. They sealed Caldera's Maw a week later. Not with the gate. They collapsed the entrance with explosives, burying it under 1,000 tons of rock and earth. The official reason was to prevent any future tragedies. The real reason was to silence it, to stop the echoes from ever reaching the surface again. I left the Park Service a year later. I couldn't do it anymore. I couldn't stand the quiet, because sometimes late at night when the house is still and the world is asleep I can still feel it. That low, thrumming hum in my bones. And sometimes in the dead of night, I'll whisper a word just to test it. And from the darkest corner of the room, a perfect mocking echo will whisper it back. I didn't just escape the cave. I think I brought a piece of it with me. A tiny silent shard patiently listening, waiting for me to sing it a new song. Thank you for being a part of this debriefing from the Wilderness Protocol. There are voids in this world, in the deep places that are hungry for sound, for life, for memory. They offer peace, but the price is your voice. The price is yourself. If you find these records to be of value and wish to be alerted to future dispatches from the wild, please consider liking this video and subscribing. Every subscriber is another sentinel on the border. Until next time, be wary of places that are too quiet. The silence might just be listening.